Excellencies, ministers, distinguished officials from the multilateral agencies, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to welcome you to this fourth session of the Global Small Island Developing States Leaders, also known as SIDS. My name's Juliette Foster, and over the next 90 minutes, I'll be guiding you through what I'm sure will be a thought-provoking and fascinating discussion, the theme of which is Seeds for All, Hunger for None, enhancing African seed systems to benefit small island developing states. A big subject indeed. The organisers of the Global SIDS Leaders are also extremely grateful for the kind sponsorship of Bayer in supporting these debates at transnational level. So thank you so much for that support. Now, let's go into the past to take a look at the genesis of this debate. It goes all the way back to 1996, the year of the UN World Food Summit, and that declaration which underlined that universal food security can only exist when everyone has permanent physical and economic access to safe, nutritious food that meets their dietary needs and preferences. An ambition that was set to be reached by 2015 and which was further enshrined in the 2030 Sustainable Development Goals. Now, the ambition of the Sustainable Development Goal number 2 is very specific because it focuses on ending hunger, achieving food security, and improving nutrition, as well as promoting sustainable farming. But whilst zero hunger is a universally accepted aspiration, it is fair to say that time is running out. Sub-Saharan Africa is not on track to meet its target of eradicating all forms of hunger and malnutrition by 2030. The numbers really speak for themselves. Let's take a look at the most recent estimates from 2019, which reports that almost 690 million people, and we're talking here about nearly 9% of the global population, remain undernourished. Now, for small island developing states like the Sub-Saharan African mainland, numbers like this really bring into focus their severe vulnerabilities and food security risks. And of course, it is a situation that has been accentuated by two other key factors, namely climate change and, of course, the COVID-19 pandemic, all of which begs the questions, how do you reverse these dangers? Well, fostering increased access to nutritious food via plant-based innovations, allowing farmers to access new varieties of high-quality climate-adaptive seeds, well, that is one solution. But rolling out these techniques requires cultivation on a scale that is both affordable and manageable. Again, climate change, which I referred to earlier, has an impact with its unpredictable weather patterns, and it challenges both existing cultivation season cycles and, of course, the knowledge of local indigenous farmers. But as this debate will demonstrate, solutions that were pioneered in Africa could be adapted to the particular topographical characteristics and soil compositions of small islands. Mobile technologies, for instance, along with remote sensing services and distributed computing, are improving the access of smallholder farmers to information, techniques, and markets. But how far can they go in tackling these challenges in addition to existing economic and capacity limitations already faced by vulnerable nations? And what about the cost? It's all very well to talk about technology, but who should foot the bill for installing these new innovations? And the question must also be asked, is it possible to design climate-smart seed policies that are sensitive to different soil compositions and farming systems, and which at the same time are capable of delivering socially fair and beneficial outcomes to vulnerable communities, such as those in small island states? So there's plenty for us to consider, and they're just some of the issues that will be examined by our distinguished panel of experts. Let me give you an idea of what's going to happen. Each panelist will give a 5-minute speech, although having said that, there is room for a little bit of leeway on that. And afterwards, or rather during these speeches, they're going to outline their particular position, and after which I will ask them a question. And then, of course, we will come to a more general selection of questions at the end of this first set. So much is happening, plenty of ground to cover. All of that for later. But let's focus now by hearing some opening words of welcome from His Excellency David Doyle. Now, he is the ambassador of St. Kitts and Nevis to UNESCO. He's also the co-founding partner with Ambassador Jean-Paul Carteron of the Solomon Islands of the GSL initiative.
Thank you, Juliette. Excellencies, distinguished speakers, ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you to this Global SIDS Leaders event devoted to SIDS for All, hunger for none, and perhaps importantly, its implications for small island developing states, known under the acronym of SIDS. Now, this is the fourth such event, bringing together leading experts from the UN family of organizations across the globe, multilateral and bilateral donors and countries, prominent research institutions, and of course, ministers from the small islands themselves to debate critical strategic issues of importance to the future sustainability of small island developing states. The genesis of this Global SIDS Leaders initiative was driven by the need in a very increasingly multipolar world to raise the profile of small island developing states on the international agenda. The objective is to secure a better understanding of the small islands' specific challenges, build mutual support at key transnational and regional negotiations, whether it's addressing the destructive nature of climate change or combating the spread of COVID, managing indebtedness, or as the topic of today's event explores, developing innovative agricultural technologies to meet the particular needs of small island developing states. Now, small island developing states represent something like 38 independent sovereign states scattered indeed across the globe, from the Caribbean to the Atlantic Ocean, from the Pacific to the Indian Ocean, representing 20% of the UN membership. Now, whilst we are very proud of the fact we have 20% of the UN membership, or 1/5 if you like, SIDS' remoteness, size, limited institutional capacity sometimes results in many of these islands, if not all of them, facing particular challenges in getting their collective voices heard at bilateral and multilateral level discussions. It was with this ambition in mind that my partner in this particular initiative, Ambassador Jean-Paul Carteron of the Solomon Islands, we instigated the Global SIDS Leaders Initiative to give a more assertive voice to SIDS at transnational level. Ultimately, it's through important and timely debates of this nature, such as today, on the development of new SIDS technology being pioneered in Africa with potential for small island developing states, that we seek to inscribe the small island strengths, opportunities, risks, and weaknesses on the global development agenda, and also allow SIDS to become essentially an integral part also of identifying the solutions. So without further ado, let me just also underline our deep appreciation to the sponsor of this event, Bayer, and I wish you all an enjoyable debate. Thank you.
Ambassador Doyle, thank you for those words. Let's begin with the first of our distinguished speakers, Maria Helena Semedo. Now, she's the Deputy Director General of the United Nations Food and Agricultural Organization, or FAO. Let me tell you a little bit about her. She is an economist and a politician from Cabo Verde, and since becoming her country's first ever female minister in 1993, she is a recognized advocate for women's empowerment and a leading expert in global development issues. Now, before taking up her current duties in 2013, she held many high-level positions in Africa. We're very fortunate to have you with us. So Maria Helena Semedo, the floor is now yours, and you have around 5 minutes.
Thank you so much, Juliette. Good afternoon to all. Ambassador Carteron, Ambassador David Doyle, Ambassador Josefa Sacco, Ambassador Mario Arvello, dear panelists, excellencies, colleagues, friends. It is really a pleasure for me to be at this fourth conference of the group of SIDS leaders. Being from Cabo Verde, addressing the unique challenge of small island development states is an issue close to my heart. And having dedicated a large part of my career to working on Africa, I am deeply aware of the complex food security concerns in sub-Saharan Africa. SIDS and sub-Saharan Africa share many vulnerabilities. These nations and their food security are fragile in face of climate crisis. Though not linked to climate change, last month, volcanic eruption and tsunami in Tonga highlighted just how hard extreme events can hit SIDS. And we are seeing a hunger crisis in the Horn of Africa, for which the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations recently launched an appeal to help 1.5 million people whose fields and pastures have been devastated by drought. So, as demand for healthy and nutritious food grows, we need to improve local food production to raise food security and nutrition levels. If you look at what we produce, 80% of our food is plant-based. If you want to increase production, must largely come for adapted and resilient crops, at the same time supported by healthy ecosystem. And we should not only think about food generated by the rich diversity of forests, trees, grassland, and mangroves to complement our diets. Is not only what you produce by the land, but let's think about our forest. And we must do this at a time when soils are degrading, biodiversity is in sharp decline, pests and disease are spreading, drought and floods are frequent, and we can no longer rely on predictable growing season. And this is, we see it every day on the small island development states. In the face of this challenging, providing access to the right seeds from a diverse range of crops and varieties is vital. Crop varieties coming from our biodiversity can also bring useful new traits attractive to market, like palatability or easy to processing. Crop varieties and good plant seeds quality and quantity can help farmers increase local food production, raise income levels and livelihoods, tackle environment challenge, and increase resilience. Providing quality tree and forest seeds can restore our degraded ecosystem and agroforestry landscapes on which sustainable production hangs. This is because the most cost-effective way to deal with a crop disease or difficult condition is with a resistant crop variety. What are the appropriate crop variety we have, and with healthy ecosystem to continue sustaining basic ecosystem services for sustainable production. Though we are not there yet, efficient seed systems help small farmers access quality seeds. While the small island development states often have nutritious fruits, vegetable pulses, and nuts, nearly all seeds import 60% of their food. In Africa, only around 30% of farmer fields are planted with improved crop varieties, while over 90% of seeds have no quality assurance. We need to place seed quality and crop varieties at the forefront of action for better food production. Yet, providing high quality and diverse seeds involve a great deal of know-how, innovation, and efficient distribution of seed systems that respond to farmers, consumers, and market demands. Colleagues, reaping more with less is the only way to achieve the Malabo Declaration and food targets of the Sustainable Development Goals. FAO is committed to working with members and development partners to meet these targets. How? Through the Samoa Pathway Global Action Program on Food Security and Nutrition, through the FAO launched Seed Solution Platform, which will bring innovation, technology, digitalization to farmers and facilitate exchange of experience and good practices among small island development states. through working to demonstrate that the seed industry is an enabler for sustainable crop production and large-scale restoration of degraded ecosystem, through cooperation for developing sustainable and resilient, climate-smart and gender-responsive value chains, engender results-based priority setting for resource to strengthen local and national seed system while encouraging regional collaboration, facilitate constructive debates on innovation, and strengthen institutional and human capacities. We must all work together to make seed system in seeds in sub-Saharan Africa resilient and diverse, to ensure that farmers can access the seeds they need when they need them, so we can have seeds for all and hunger for none, and to ensure better production, better nutrition, a better environment, and a better life for all, leaving no one behind. And I thank you. Over to you, Juliette.
Thank you very much, Maria Helena Semedo. The question I'd like to put to you is that you've beautifully outlined the challenges that SIDS face, the challenges arising from their environments and the work that needs to be done. Also, that statistic about 60% of food actually being imported. But given all of that, when you factor in the agenda for sustainable development and that goal to eradicate hunger by 2030, is it perhaps time to reevaluate that deadline? Because as we know, the hunger and malnutrition rates are rising. And if it were reevaluated, what would it mean for SIDS farmers?
Yeah, this is a very, very good question. I think if you see, we are far to achieve our sustainable development goals, and COVID-19 has made it more difficult. But to me, I don't think we should move the goal. To me, what we need is to set the bar high and to have greater ambition. It's time for us to roll our sleeves, not lose time, and put our words into action. What we need is a great scale and acceleration of our action. And this is how I can see this. If you all together, we strengthen our partnership, we restore our degraded land, we slow the effects of climate change, we tackle food loss and waste, we can still hit the 2030 target. Now is not time to give up. What we need to do is to redouble our efforts. Be together in partnership with the government, with the private sector, with the civil society, with our financial institutions. And this is how we really need to have ambition, action, and strengthen our partnership. This is how I see it, Juliette.
Maria Helena Semedo, thank you so much for your response to that question. So thank you so much for those of you who have taken part in today's discussion. We appreciate your contribution and we look forward to seeing you, well, hearing from you again in the not too distant future. Because remember, the small island developing states, this is their time. Their voices are being heard. It's time for all of us to listen and to work together. Thank you.